Walsh community. My name is Tom Petz. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at the college, and with me is Jay Kruger,
Hello.
Creative Marketing Director. And today we're here to share some really exciting updates and invite you into the conversation as we start to look at what's new and upcoming for the Walsh brand. So,
Very exciting.
As many of you know, we have had the same logo, the same color scheme for how long, Jay?
Oh, forever. Seemingly forever, at least.
And you may or may not know this, but we have recently onboarded a new digital marketing agency. They have suggested making some changes and updates to better align with who we are and how and make it easier for us to reach our target audience.
Yeah, and it was definitely part of the conversation of, it was a suggestion. And then as we kind of looked at that suggestion a little bit closer and what we needed to do with that, it became more obvious that it needed to be done.
Yes. So when in the marketing space, we talk about this idea called brand, right? And brand is this thing that it requires a little bit of definition, but what it really is our reputation in our marketplace. So we obviously want to be seen as positively as possible in the marketplace, because that's going to help us really grow and scale effectively and help us gain an audience of people who are really all in for Walsh College. So if you think about brands like Apple, things like the Detroit Lions, and the passion people have for those brands, you really understand where we're trying to go here.
For sure. And it's nice to, tie yourself into something that is fresh. Walsh is becoming a very fresh brand, and very much in the way that we're doing things and the very forward nature of the way that we're doing things. This was really good timing.
Yeah. So we did a number of different activities as part of this exercise. There were interviews, there were workshops, there was research.
You certainly did not take it lightly.
No. There's a lot of analysis. And really what we have come to is this idea that our brand really represents a principle of limitless ambition. So if you think about a company that kind of blends the best aspects of Disney, Tesla, IBM, Mercedes-Benz, and that's going to give you sort of a picture of what it is that we're trying to represent. It's a world of endless possibilities, imagination, drive, and really trying to appeal to people's desire for a high-end experience that prepares them for success. So that's who we represent as a brand, and who are we trying to talk to as a customer? And this is this idea of unstoppable achievers. So those are seeking a competitive edge by cultivating things like resilience, right? Resourcefulness and business savvy.
Yeah,
so
it's really a great two-word phrase that really sums up our alumni and our students. We have so many people, and I've had an opportunity in the studio here to interview some of these people, and the unstoppable achiever was something that as soon as we heard that phrase, we were like, man, that is spot on. So to the point where we've actually started a whole new series of interviews with students and alumni and in business community that really provokes that. And so we've actually even titled it Unstoppable Achievers.
Yes. So we're already starting to incorporate some of the language, but I think we're all aware that when it comes to brand, the way that we represent a brand is through visuals. So things like colors, fonts, graphics, all of those kinds of things. And our agency suggested that in order to best represent the Walsh brand to the world, that we needed to do a couple things. So, let's start with color, Jay. You had a key hand in talking through some of those things. Talk about what came up when we were talking about color.
Yeah, so the color in general was something that, now, before anybody gets crazy, the blue and white will still be the strong representation of Walsh. That is still something that Walsh has come to be known as. And in some ways, you don't want to change that dramatic piece of a brand that has the longevity that we do. However, there are those secondary colors that we need to start bringing in. Now, one of our colors that a lot of people will know is that yellow. But that yellow actually comes off of a yellow legal pad, which I don't know the last time I saw a yellow legal pad.
It's been a while.
Or anybody else has. So what we started to do is we started to drift away from that one on purpose. And so we've really done some deep dive into what colors look best with our blues that we've come to be known for. So we've started to really play with some different ones in there. And we're getting into some brighter colors and things that really speak to who we are. They represent the innovation, the the opportunities, the accomplishments of our students that really make things pop. So that was a big piece of the color aspect.
Yeah. So for going further down, there's other things that we look at, like typefaces and graphics as well. Can you talk about that journey?
Yeah. So the typeface was definitely an interesting one. So we've started to play with some things that way that, again, speak to a way of forward motion. So we talk a lot about what Walsh is, and what Walsh is not only to us internally, but what it is to the Walsh community. And because of the direction we're going and because of where we've been, we want to move into a space where our typeface is sans serif. It's industry forward look and feel, and it has an entire emotion attached to it. And so we've really ditched the serif font of the old time, and so the old Times New Roman is so dated now. So we're getting away from that. We're moving more towards something that is speaking to the modernization of education.
Yep. Graphics too. This is another thing.
Graphics
the
is a big
visuals,
one.
right?
Yeah. So the visual piece of this was really fun. So we've started to play with a lot of things, but one of them that we've really come into was we have these big swoops and these big arching swoops that are very indicative of forward motion. We want to always make sure that we're representing the Walsh brand in a way that is showing people an emotion and making them feel something that we feel strongly about here at Walsh. We feel like Walsh is innovative, we're very forward thinking, and we want to set the tone for what's to come. So we've started to use these big swoops. Now, on top of that, one of the things that you notice around campus has been these hexagons. We use them in a design, and up until recently, we haven't really used them in our marketing so much. Until about the last 8 months or so, we've started to weave them in. But now what you're going to see is it's going to come into play a lot more. These are things that are very... The design itself has this almost portal feel of like, I'm going to step through this and into who I'm going to be. And so we're going to start to play with that a little bit and really get that into the brand. So you're going to start to see these big hexagons, these big swoops, along with some of these new colors. And it's really, the concepts that we've seen so far have been really, really strong.
Yeah. And accompanying that is going to be photography that really projects emotions that we want people to associate with the brand. Things like confidence, differentiation, practice learning, putting students in a place of learning in their real lives, because this is actually what is happening when they are in class. But we also are looking at things like logo. So talk about that one.
The logo becomes such a powerful piece of this because we have to do it in a way that is modernized. We have had the same logo for a very long time. There was a brief blip where we used a slightly different one, but it was just a modified version of the same thing. This time, we need to go a little bit bigger. That has been a very big deal. We've had many, many conversations, we've had many interviews, we've run this through multiple people, and we're getting very close now to what this finally will land on. And again, it's going with that same thing like I talked about with the typeface. It needs to be modernized. It needs to have this way of looking very 21st century. As we move into past our 100-year mark, it's important for us to start speaking to where we are today and where we're going tomorrow.
While still being approachable.
While still being very approachable, which is the big piece of this too. So you're going to start to see some more rounded edges in there, and these are representations of something that we can embody, and we do embody as a college. Of if you want somebody to hold your hand from application through graduation, we're your college, and we're here for that. So that's a very cool one. The logo is going to be really fun to play with as we start to solidify what that finally looks like.
Yeah. So as we've been talking and just discussing some of these different concepts and ideas, obviously you've been seeing some of the ideas play out on the screen, and this is where we're going to invite you into the conversation. So below, there is a form. And that form is there to provide some feedback to us on what you think of the different ideas and the concepts and things that have been presented. And what we're going to ask you to do is provide us with feedback. What is it that you like? What is it that you don't like? What should we change? What should we never see again? And really help us shape and refine how we are presenting the Walsh brand to the world. So as we take these ideas, just know we are going to read every single one of them. We may not be able to get every single idea implemented, but what matters to us the most is to get that feedback and refine and be as inclusive as we possibly can with this process as we move forward here. So go through, rewind this video, take a look at the different things that you had seen. Take some time to give us your feedback, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Yeah. Forward to it.
Yeah.